Cowboys are an American icon, but the icon we have created is an elusive one, based mainly off what we see on the television screen and traditional folklore. The true story of the cowboy is not so artificial, not so romantic and sensationalized as Hollywood would lead you to believe. And part of the story begins right here in our own state of Arizona, with the Mexican vaqueros and caballeros. The Spanish vaqueros and caballeros were a proud group of cattlemen that grazed their herds in the Santa Cruz Valley as early as 1690. Large-scale ranching began to take place in Arizona after the Civil War as ranchers moved north and west into our state after cattle had overgrazed the pastures of Texas. As a result, cattle numbers in Arizona grew exponentially. The original caballeros and vaqueros were gentlemen and given a high amount of respect and honor in the Latin culture. The American cowboy, however, was feared as a rough, lawless, unrestrained drunkard, prone to shooting up cattle towns as he drove his cattle through. But with the influence of Buffalo Bill's Wild West show and President Roosevelt, the cowboy began to take on its more romanticized nature. In the span of about 20 years, their reputation evolved from a disdained group of drovers to the icon of the Western hero, strong, silent, and rough around the edges, but equipped with an internal code of honor. The authentic life of a cowboy was lonely and hard. They were constantly on the move as they herded cattle from one grazing pasture to another on their way to a main market where the beef could be sold and loaded onto a train bound for the east. Long days and short nights, the dangers of a remote wilderness, a lonely life away from family but surrounded by faithful companions of the trade, and conflict with Indians were all contributors to a harsh and unromantic life. But though Hollywood may exaggerate the romantic ideas we have of what it was like to be a cowboy, they do pay homage to a very important group in American history in their portrayal of the Western cowboy as hard-working, rough-riding, and individualistic, a band of brothers who often sought justice when the West was still under development. Arizona's greatest influence on the cowboy culture exposes itself on July 4, 1888, when in the small town of Prescott a cowboy competition was held for the first time, which attracted ranchers and farmers from nearby towns to participate in bronco riding, cow horse racing, and steer roping. The competition proved successful and so became an annual tradition as part of the Prescott Frontier Days Festival. After a legal wrangle with Pecos, Texas, Cheyenne, Wyoming, and Payson, Arizona, Prescott finally won the right to fame as the world's oldest rodeo. And in the 1985 version of the popular board game Trivial Pursuit, a question read, "What rough and tumble Western sport was first formalized in Prescott, Arizona?" The answer, of course, was rodeo. This last year, the world's oldest rodeo celebrated its 121st anniversary and is still going strong. Fascinating that Arizona had a hand in the growth of a multi-million-dollar industry that is popular throughout the states and even in other parts of the world today. Dude ranches such as Sprucedale Ranch in the secluded and scenic sanctuary of the White Mountains are another way Arizona continues to contribute to the cowboy tradition. The 20 or so active dude ranches in Arizona offer a range of activities that would have been part of the life of a cowboy. It is an experience to remember, and while the accommodations are 4-star compared to the actual life of the cowboy, it gives us a taste of what the life of a ranching cowboy was like in the old days. The modern conception of what it is to be a cowboy is even more elusive. The generations of cowboys past can remember a time when their days were long and nights were short, when coffee was brewed on the fire without a filter, and gathering around the fire with some good fiddle and harmonica music was the regular entertainment. But the traditions of the old ways are slowly being replaced as society moves on in this fast-paced, profit-minded, and technological age. Many cowboys go home to a house with a family at the end of the day. They watch a little cable TV, maybe do some work on the computer, and drink their coffee without the grinds. Yes, sirree, many things have changed, but one thing is still the same. A cowboy still ain't a cowboy without a horse, his hat, and his boots.